Coming to you from the Deep South, this is the Blue Collar Leadership Podcast. High-impact leadership is not reserved for leaders, and it has nothing to do with your position, title, or rank. However, it does have everything to do with your character. It's time to climb to the next level and beyond, personally and professionally. Now, let's start making it happen with your host, Mack Story.
Hello, everyone. If you're a regular listener of the Blue Collar Leadership Podcast, you know I'm in the middle of a Blue Collar Leadership and Supervision 30-part series, and that hasn't changed. I'm just squeezing 4 special episodes in between my regularly Friday morning releases. So I had the opportunity to interview my friend and blue-collar brother, Daniel Ross, who's quickly invading the personality profiling space and truly authentic individual with an amazing personal story. And so had the opportunity to do a 3-part interview with him. And then actually we did a bonus. So there's 4 parts coming. And so you're listening to one of those episodes today. I hope you enjoy it. And we'll pick back up with episode 118 at its regularly scheduled release time on Friday morning. And so you're not going to miss anything. I'm just adding in some extra for you. I hope you learned something from Daniel. And if you do, reach out to him. He'd love to talk to you. Have a great day. All right, everybody. Welcome back to part 2 of 3 with Daniel Ross. And last time we finished up, we were talking about being hungry. And so hopefully you listened to part 1. If you didn't, maybe you want to stop this episode and go back, learn a little bit about Daniel and his story in part 1 of this series. But one thing I didn't mention was where Daniel's from. Where are you from? Where you live, man?
Well, originally or now?
Kind of both.
Kind of both. Originally Mississippi, Rankin County. I kind of, early part of my life had lived kind of central, outside Jackson area and inside of Jackson area. Moved around a couple of times as a kid. As an adult, currently I live in Auburn, Alabama.
Okay. Yeah, and pretty cool. I met you maybe about a year and a half ago.
Yes.
We shared an eye doctor.
Yes.
And he referred you to, said you need to talk to me or whatever.
Yeah, he gave me he'd gotten a card from you, and he said, "Hey, you need to meet this guy. He is I don't know." And so he was pretty I say passionate when he told me, you really need to meet this guy Mack. I just met him today or whatever, and so he gave me your card the next time I saw him, and I kept delaying. I delayed, I don't know, maybe 6 months. And he had asked me a couple other times. And this was Dr. Egan.
Yeah.
And so Dr. Egan, it was 6 months later, he said, "Daniel, did you ever get in touch with Mack?" And I said, "No, I've been meaning to." He said, "No, I really feel like you really need to do that, man. I don't know why. I just feel like you need to meet him." And so that day I made that call, and I didn't know a whole lot about you. And, I just, whatever. So I made that call. How long were we on the phone that day?
Probably several hours.
At least.
That's just the way it works.
Yeah, I remember exactly where I was sitting in my truck. I had pulled over in a parking lot, and we got into it and got some really good, got into some meat.
Yeah. Good stuff. Now we've become friends.
Yes,
and,
exactly.
Close friends.
Uh-huh.
And still don't see each other a lot because we're both busy.
Yeah.
But we care about each other a lot. And
Yes.
That's good stuff. So today we're going to dive into your space. And a lot of it is close to my space. Some of it overlaps, but some of the language is completely different than I talk about it. Although people who listen to my podcast will hear all the same principles, but maybe spoken in a different way with a different perspective. And that's why it's so powerful for those people who are hungry to get all different kinds of perspectives. Like I don't learn from one person. I learn from tons of people.
Yes.
And relative to what you're going to talk about, profiling, you didn't learn it from one person. You learned it from a bunch of people who talk about it. Then you took your own life experiences. And what you're going to share is you're not a copycat. You may talk about other people's stuff like I do. I share quotes, but you kind of created your own thing based on your own experiences and the way you see the world. And that's what we all should do, right?
Yes.
So tell us about profiling.
I'm going to talk about application.
Okay.
And I think that's really the key, because there's a lot of
how to apply.
Application. How to apply. Yes, and how to live in it.
Okay.
And there's a lot of this is where I started seeing the breakdown. We talk about profile, and sometimes people get scared when you hear that, and maybe we'll create another word for that down the road. But it's really, it's really about seeing people and who they are. And, most people I've talked to, most of you guys out there, or some of you, have probably taken some type of personality test at some point in time. If you've worked corporate, or if you've done an interview and gone through an application process, sometimes these, companies will administer, the aptitude but also the profile test, because they want to kind of get a scope of where your strengths and weaknesses are.
And I know some of my clients have done that. They do leadership development. They do, I know you mentioned DISC profiling is a popular one. That's kind of what you're going to talk about is kind of aligned with DISC and Myers-Briggs.
Yeah.
Is that the main
So you
two?
got, there's a lot of them out there. There's Myers-Briggs, there's DISC, there's Enneagram, there's Strengths Finders, and each one of these will probably say they're unique to themselves, and I'm sure they are. But what they'll venture into different aspects, and they have a strength within the way they're teaching their, the strengths of the individuals. But what I like to do is just go to the basics, and I like to keep it. Now, I call it the street smarts.
Keep it simple.
Keep it simple, because there are some very, very intelligent people, in the world that can get into this and love the actual application process or the assessment process for the fact of it just being a process. But when it comes to application, that's where it breaks off. For example, and this is very, very common for me to hear this. And when I'm speaking to a group or working with individuals, I like to ask, now say a group, speaking to a group of people, I'm going to ask you, how many in here has ever heard of an assessment test? And I wait for the hands. That's, by show of hands, and so there's going to be a percentage. And I've had as high as 50% of the room raise their hand. I was recently at a school and was speaking to a school, and I did this to 50. I asked this question to 50 to 50 faculty members, teachers, educators, and I think 10% of the room raised their hand.
Wow.
And so then my next question is, so for those that have taken the test or taken a test or read a book on it, who in here knows the application of how to use this? No one raises their hands. And I've been doing this a lot in the last few years. No one raises their hands on application. Every now I may get one person kind of, a little bit not aggressively raise their hand, but kind of like thinking they might know a little bit. And so
people hear about it, and they maybe get an assessment, then they get told they're a purple or green or a lion or an elephant. I don't even know all those things, because to me, all those things doesn't matter.
Yes.
It's like what you're talking about. The underlying stuff, can I apply what I'm learning about and change my results?
Yes,
and that's
exactly
what you want to talk about, because it doesn't matter how much you get assessed if you can't do anything with it.
Yes, if you can't do anything, if you can't live within this and learn and take your, put some powerful glasses on to see people and see the value of who they are. And I'm gonna give you an example. Like, I'm always asking this question. I love asking questions. I love doing my own studies.
You're good, man. You're on this show because you're really, really good. I mean, I ain't, me, I don't care about titles. You made a joke on the last episode about doctor or whatever, because a lot of people who do this are doctors, right?
Yes.
Psychologists, psychiatrists, all that kind of stuff.
Uh-huh.
But there's a lot of ways to learn.
Yes.
You don't have to learn out of college. You can learn from a book, from a conference, from observing.
Yes.
Right? And Daniel is a pro. I hope you guys can go to the Between Two Amy's Facebook page and watch his video of him getting interviewed. You'll see, really, he's amazing. So give us some of that amazing stuff.
Okay. Well, so I'm going to continue talking about the individuals I talked to that have taken an assessment test, and this goes from corporate to government, and the one I'm thinking about right now is somebody who works within the government, with the federal government, and I asked her, I said, we were talking about profile, we're talking about assessment tests, and she said, I've taken one last year, and yeah, I've got it somewhere in my filing cabinet. Hold on one second. And so, we're on the phone, and I can hear them opening their filing cabinet, and they're, trying to find this thing, and, but could not remember anything about it other than that they had it in their filing cabinet. And so they pulled it out, and she actually took a picture of it and texted me the picture of her results. And it was a beautiful, beautiful form. I mean, it was colorful. It had charts, and these amazing charts on there. Her name was printed, on there. And it was professional.
Somebody probably labeled her somewhere on there. She got labeled.
Yeah, she took the test, and she got, and it was accurate for where she was, but she didn't know. I mean, here she is, and I don't know how much the government paid for this company or whoever it was, and I'm not knocking them. I'm not,
because you need that info.
You need that information. But where I see the lack, where I see the need, is that next level, and it's again going to application. So I asked her, so what do you know about this? Well, I don't know. I mean, it says right here that I'm task and challenge, and that I'm, so I guess I'm just a task and challenge person. And so they get locked into this category. And when I work with people and leaders that I work with, I like to, I emphasize the patterns. I emphasize the categories of the, of the personality traits, but I don't want you to get locked in and get so worried about labeling, and because that can you can get stuck in that. And
it could become a self-fulfilling prophecy when it doesn't have to.
Yes,
because you can step into the other space. We ain't really going to call them labels, but that's what they are, labels. When traditional way of taking assessment, here's your label.
Yes,
put a color on your cubicle so everybody knows what they're dealing with. Nothing wrong with all of that stuff.
No.
But that's not where the value is.
Yes, and the value is just. Now I'm gonna back up. You triggered something when you said that. There's two trains of thoughts in personal growth and in some of the teachings. There's two trains of thought, and they're opposite of each other. And you find that people will go to one camp or the other camp, or one tribe or the other. And so one of them is focusing on your strengths and staying in your lane. And I understand that, and I appreciate that, and I believe there's a lot of value. But then the other train of thought is is about growth and working on the weaknesses, the areas that you're weak in. And so both camps are kind of opposing each other. Like, oh no, you don't, the ones that say stay in your lane and work on your strengths, don't worry about your weaknesses, just continue growing in your strengths. So both are great, but I think there's a balance.
And it's all relative.
It is relative. You can't just categorize that. You can't just say this one thing. And so in my experience has been seeing these quadrants, right? And we're going to dive into the little bit of the nuts and bolts of this, and labeling yourself in a box, and then just trying to put your life centered around this is what I am, and it kind of just it can get you stuck, and it gets you stuck in how you see other people, because you're still seeing yourself and you're still thinking in who you are. So to I know I'm speaking Greek to probably a certain percentage of you guys.
A lot of the blue collar folks never heard this stuff, because a lot of blue collar organizations do not invest in leadership development or
you're right,
these type of assessments. And
before
you kick in, let me just share with the audience. I mean, you're a blue collar guy. I love you for that, most especially. But you just like me, you operate in any space. Probably more outside of the blue collar space, because a lot of blue collar organizations don't do this stuff. They don't value it. They should value it.
Right.
But
I do this. The blue collar people I reach is just the community things that I do. That's where I find the blue collar people because I've done some charity, and just giving back, and that's where I see those. I don't see this a lot in corporate, giving back and teaching. So, and I know this from being on the last episode, we talked about my job history.
Yeah.
75. So we're talking
75 different jobs in the blue collar space.
Yes.
Nobody ever did an assessment with you like this.
No, never. And so you're talking
leadership development.
And you're talking. You're looking at I'm gonna just give a little rundown quick. I told you 75 jobs. So I'm painting boats on the Mississippi River. I'm climbing interstate billboards. painting the signs and the letters on directions, framing houses, painting houses, wiring phone system, digging ditches, So
area you did.
I became a farrier. I shoot horses. I mentored with some
You shoot horses. That's some pretty significant places and with significant people, right?
Oh yeah. Now that was more of a self-employed, so I didn't really,
Okay.
but I wasn't employed by
one of those
anybody.
75 jobs.
Yes, but it was one of them. But again, blacksmithing. I did become a deputy in Louisiana.
What?
Can you believe that? I walked in the sheriff's office and I asked him. I went and filled out an application, had an interview with him, and I put a mask on, trying to be professional, and I knew I just messed it up. I walked out of that interview, and in the parking lot, I knew I didn't have that job, and so I turned around and went back in, and I asked the secretary if I could see him again, and it took a few minutes to get me in his room in a real huge, beautiful office. Walked in and I just told him my story, and told him some pretty tough stuff that I grew up with, and I said, but
because you got some tough stuff you didn't share, and you probably
I may not share that on this, and this is maybe on another.
You've been through some stuff.
Yes, and so I shared some pretty hardcore stuff that I experienced in community, and I shared with them my passion for seeing health and community, and I told him, I said, Sheriff. I said, this was Sheriff Eddie Larison in Tangipahoa Parish, Louisiana, north of New Orleans, and I said, Sheriff, if you give me this opportunity, give me a chance. I just told him I'll be hungry, I'll learn, I'll do anything you tell me to do, so that I can, because I wanted to serve community.
Yeah.
And I told him my highest grade education was 4th grade. I don't have a 12th grade education. I don't have college. And he took a chance on me, and he put me through training, and
that's awesome.
Yeah. So anyway, I didn't mean to run that little rabbit trail, but it's a really diverse background. Again, when you first told me blue collar, what's funny is I never even heard that term, and until I was in my late 20s, and it seems like when I did hear the term blue collar, I didn't understand what it meant, and then later I started figuring out blue collar, this white collar, this is the working people.
So just in case you share this with some people outside of my audience, all that means is people who do physical labor, work with their hands.
Exactly.
Still got to use your mind.
Oh yeah.
A lot of people miss that part.
Yes.
But especially in today's technology,
yes.
You got to be pretty sharp to do a lot of blue collar jobs,
yes.
right?
But we get undervalued. We get so undervalued.
Yeah.
And we're
used and abused a lot of us.
Yes, but yet we're the nuts and bolts of keeping everything going in this country.
Some amazing things out there.
Yes.
So let's jump back to wherever you want to go with this.
Okay.
Profiling again.
Okay, so I'm gonna give you just a little bit of a breakdown of it, so you guys out there that are listening. There's basically 4 different traits in the world in people, and there's 4 different basic profiles, and these, like I said, there are, we've got the DISC assessment tests. They focus on the 4. You've got I know there's strengths finders, there's Enneagram, Myers-Briggs. The one I learned from is one called GEMS, and they just take precious stones. And this was an amazing one. And that, to me, I think this is the best, the one called GEMS. And so these 4 basics. Oh, this goes back to Hippocrates.
Okay.
And I think if I'm not wrong, and I seem like I remember, this is like, I think year 444. Way back. So, but what happened? Hippocrates wrote about it. Is he identified 4 different characteristics in population, and in people, in all people.
So we all got a percentage of all of them.
Yes,
but we have some that are stronger.
Yes. So
than
what
others.
we have is we have these, and I'm going to I'll break it down a little bit in their core motivator, and as I'm speaking on this, you're going to start having light bulbs going off in relationships that you have, whether it's work, family, extended family.
And you're strong in the family space. You got a passion for that.
I do. I really do.
What you're about to share with them, the rest of this episode, next episode, they're going to get personal benefit and professional benefit. You're going to have them at work and at home.
Yeah, we talk about influence, right?
Absolutely.
It raises influence.
Everywhere.
Raises influence. And I got to share this. So we run rabbit trails. You guys okay with that?
They probably are. They probably heard me. I do it by myself.
Okay. So, I'm going to break it down in a minute. So before I back up, and this is what kind of lit me up in one of the first conferences I went to. And this was, and I shared this on the two Amy's, between two Amy's. We all in life, we earn our income based on our skill, right? And so the question was posed to me in a question, what is the most, if you could categorize the stereotype problems, what's the biggest problem in the world? And so this gets you to start thinking. And so I ask people this, and they'll, I come up with all kind of answers, but I want you to start thinking. And so the biggest problem is in the world, and you tell me if you agree or disagree, Mack.
All right.
It's people problems.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, that's what Rhea and I deal with, help leaders deal with. It's what everybody listed right here is dealing with when they're frustrated.
Yes. Okay.
If you're frustrated in life, it's probably something related to another person.
Yes.
Somehow.
Yes.
Somewhere.
It is. And so if you think about, we go to school to go learn about our product or service.
Yep.
All through 12 years of school, we learn, we get educated, and then we go to college, and then we go to trade school,
competency stuff,
or just on the job training or whatever. We learn about stuff, right?
Yep.
Who's teaching people? And so it was posed. This question was, so wouldn't you think, we get good and we learn and we get skill in product and service. Wouldn't it be pretty important to put people on that list? And shouldn't that be at the top of the list above product and service?
Should be.
It should be. And so when
the best companies out there, it is.
Yes.
The absolute best companies, that's at the top.
Yes.
That's why they're the best.
That's why they're the best. And I don't, can you name names of companies here on the show?
Yeah, I mean, you can.
I like eating at Chick-fil-A.
Yeah, they're different.
Yes. And every now and then, if I'm in a hurry and I'm not a big fast food person, but times I do. And times I've gone to McDonald's, and
nothing against them. They just
no. There wasn't different, but
they're
not putting that effort into the people. Maybe that's just not their focus. But Chick-fil-A does do that. So you see us as the client or the customer, we see that.
Let me say, because it's important to the listeners, and you know it, so I'm not really saying it to you. But these other companies, like McDonald's, they do put it into the people. But getting back to what you were talking about before, they don't apply it the same.
Exactly.
Right? All these big multi-billion-dollar companies, they do put into the people development, but they're not living it. They're not applying it. That's the difference in the results, right?
Yes.
And that's what the whole thing that we're talking about is your whole lane is how to help people apply.
Yes, exactly.
And that's the difference, right?
Yes.
Chick-fil-A is applying it, and they're hiring people who apply it, and their leaders are applying it.
Yes. So, okay, where are we at on time? We got time? Okay. So I'm going to go over the basics really quick, and then we'll dive into more of it after maybe on the next our next episode. So I like to talk about the core motivators in each profile. And so you're going to identify, as you listen to me go through this, you're going to identify with a little bit of each of them. I mean, we all have a little bit of all this in us, but most people are going to have a dominant core motivator. And then we're going to have a secondary that's going to be pretty strong for most people. Leaders, a lot of leaders are going to operate a lot in all four.
High impact leaders.
High impact. I love the way you say
Not
that.
Not just formal authority leaders.
Yes.
You're talking about people with high developed character.
I like what you also call as positional leadership, because a lot of positional leadership, because they have the position, they're a lot of times they're not
they're more managers of people, not really leaders.
Yes. So real quick, first profile. And it's not in order. It's just there's not an order. It's just the first one that comes on my mind, and it's the person that is your core motivator in your life is task and challenge. Your motto for you is the second place is your first loser. So you got to win. It's always about the win. It's about best. It's about the best products. It's about the best, name brand. And so it's about task and challenge. Second person is motivated by fun. Of course, everybody wants to be that, and they think they're that, but there's like an extra shot of steroids in the fun department. It's the person that can be a little bit out of control sometimes, as far as just off the chart with, so a weakness is disorganization. But these are influencers. Your next person is your person that's motivated by cause or service. Your next person is motivated by facts and figures. And so what I just told you, with all four of these, there are patterns. When I take leaders out in public places, I teach the body language, I teach the voice cadence, I teach clothing patterns, I teach words that are patterns for all four of these profiles that you
help you identify.
It helps you identify
and relate
to, so that you can you're going to honor these people in their space. And I'm going to show you that most of our problems, I'm telling you, most of our problems and conflicts that are happening in the workplace and in the home place have to do with opposites, and us seeing in how we see things, and it's the miscommunication between opposites. And we're going to dive into that on the next episode.
So those four you just said, we ain't going to do it here, but the next episode you're going to say, like, the opposite of A is C or something like that.
Yes.
Not letters. Yeah, we're going to talk about the terminology.
Yeah, we're going to talk about the opposites of the task and challenge is opposites of the cause. The fun person is opposite of the facts and figures, and these two are the people that are attracted to each other for partnership and marriage and friendship in some cases. But then we try to change each other, and that's where our problems come in.
Yeah. So what you're going to share in the next episode helps people connect with other people.
Exactly.
Move beyond
yes.
to actual connection, right? That's a whole different level.
Yes, and and I like to call it living in profile.
Okay.
Living in profile, listening in profile, speaking in profile, thinking in profile.
Listening, speaking, thinking in profile, which you wrap into one thing called living in profile, right?
Yes.
So we'll start off the next episode with living in profile with Mr. Daniel Ross. Thank you for being here today.
Thank you for having me. This is a blast.
It is pretty cool, isn't it?
Yes.
I can't wait for these episodes to be published, and they'll all be back to back. So if you're listening today, look forward to part 3 with Daniel tomorrow. Talk to you next time.
Make it happen, or someone else will. It might as well be you. Are you serious about taking your career and your life to the next level and beyond? Check out Mack Story's Blue Collar Leadership series books and others, now available on audio, along with paperback and ebooks at Amazon, iTunes, and Audible. Please visit bluecollarleadership.com to learn about Mack's books, programs, special offers, certifications, and more. Thank you for listening to the Blue Collar Leadership Podcast.